more than 35 years, MIT professor Ian Hutchinson has been trying to solve the mystery of harnessing the energy that powers the sun and stars.
It takes light elements like isotopes of hydrogen and fuses them together to produce heavier elements. That also releases energy, and that's what powers the sun and stars. And the question for fusion is, can we take that type of nuclear energy and release it on a human scale in such a way as to produce electricity and those kinds of things? If we can, that type of nuclear energy has major potential advantages relative to fission because it's cleaner, it produces less waste, it's safer.
Ian's primary research interest is plasma physics. He and his MIT team design, built, and operate the Alcator CMOD tokamak. It's an international experimental facility whose magnetically confined plasmas, with temperatures reaching beyond 50 million degrees Celsius, are prototypical of a future fusion reactor.
It's large-scale research. So when you're building a big device, it's a big and expensive effort. And so that takes time. The time scales are quite long. And to bring it into commercial fruition will certainly take several decades.
Coincidentally, it was while Ian was completing his undergraduate degree in physics at Cambridge University in the UK that his spiritual journey began.
My friends invited me to go to a series of lectures that was given by Michael Green, who's a quite well-known speaker. And it was really largely in that series of lectures that I began to reach the point in my life where I realized I was more than half convinced that Christianity was real, that Jesus really is who he says he is. And I reached the point where I prayed in my room and said to God, if you're really there, I want to be a follower of Jesus. And I did find a reality there.
Ian's academic path continued at Australia National University. It was there that he met his wife, Fran.
I met Fran largely through the Christian group at college there, the International Fellowship of Evangelical Students group.
We were friends for about a year, and then we started going out, and we married 6 months later.
She's so gracious and outgoing that this draws people to her, and I'm just fortunate that in that sense she sort of compliments me because probably I'm not the most gregarious person, and so we complement each other in a beautiful way. The most important part of our relationship is the lived life together, the family time, the challenges we face together, the successes, the failures, and we've always tried to be there for one another. And that's a sense of deep fellowship and friendship and love. I think spiritual disciplines are important, so I try to read the Bible briefly each morning when I get up and have a brief time of prayer. So that's, just to do with my spiritual, practices. I certainly think that my spiritual commitments have an important influence on the way that I deal with people and also on the way that I think about my science.
He has a wonderful singing voice, participates fully in the choir, and reads the scriptures.
A reading from the Revelation to John, chapter 22.
A sought-after speaker in the academic world, Ian's topics range from the intersection of science and faith to the distinction between science and scientism as a worldview. The subject spawned a book by Ian entitled Monopolizing Knowledge.
Scientism is the erroneous belief that science is all the knowledge there is. And within our society as a whole, I believe, there's a large amount of very often implicit, but nevertheless quite predominant scientism, that people rely on scientific knowledge and they think that if you want knowledge that really counts, it's got to be science. I believe profoundly that there are other types of knowledge like history, philosophy, the law, literature, and I believe that understanding that and emphasizing that and recognizing the role of other types of knowledge is the most important way to improve the relationship in understanding between science and religion. As I have grown older, the thing which has grown in me more and more is a sense of thankfulness. Just thankfulness for my life, for the things that I have, for the people I know who I love and who love me, for the opportunities that I've had. Sometimes when you see something that you've been thinking about for a long time and you begin to realize, oh, that's what it is. That can be a moment of such amazing joy, of realizing that you finally figured something out, and maybe you're the first person that ever thought that thought.
What has impressed me is not just his depth and breadth of knowledge, the quality of his thinking, but how truly kind an individual that he is. He has that rare quality of caring for people.
To sustain our lives in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
That oftentimes is lost among the most accomplished scientists. He is neither self-impressed nor self-absorbed, and it's this quality that sets him apart from many accomplished people of his ilk.